Project first came across your desk, even being before getting cast, you immediately knew how you wanted to play certain scenes. What was it about this script that resonated with you in such a visceral way? And as an actor who's built such an illustrious career, is that generally how you know if a project is right for you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I feel like I read a lot of thriller scripts and a lot of those things, come across my desk, if you will. And the fact that I didn't see this twist coming,
Hmm.
excited me. And I think that was the first hook. And of course, these characters are so fun. The idea of playing two people, getting to develop two different characters and really sinking my teeth into that, that just was like, I got to do this. And I really did. I was dreaming about it. I was I was like thinking about like I just know it. I know exactly how to be these people, and the fact that I got the opportunity to do it was awesome. These characters, as dark and as twisted as they are,
Hmm.
very close to my heart.
Perfect segue to this next question. But, part of your job as an actor is to find your character's motivations and the reasons why they are the way that they are. What's that process like for you with this project where you're not playing not one character, but two, and they feel so distinctly different in their tone, their physicality, and the way that they react to things. And you did that so brilliantly that when that twist does happen, you don't know who's at the helm of it. What were you writing on those sticky notes?
Thank you so much. That makes me happy. I was writing tone. I was writing like what needs to be accomplished here. But then it became deeper than that. It was like, when you're establishing characters, you want to know why they tick,
Hmm.
why they are the way that they are. And even if it's not necessarily on paper, you want to create it in a way. Why does this person react this way? Most people have some sort of traumatic experience, or it could be a good thing. It could be a good experience that changes their perspective and makes them who they are at that point in their life. And I think it's so important to find that because we all have that. We are humans. It's nature and nurture, and you figure out what makes people tick. You have empathy for that person, and even like the darkest characters. That's why I always reference like the Joker. For whatever reason, you kind of love him. He's got this quality about him that he's so fascinating, and there's something so toxic about him. And obviously he's a villain, but you have this weird understanding, and that's what I wanted to capture here. I wanted people to enjoy both characters and have that guilty pleasure feeling, of course, but at the same time I wanted you to understand that people don't just wake up like this one day.
Yeah.
Zoe is the way that she is because of what has happened in her past, and same thing with Anna. And when you get confused as to who is who towards the end, I don't want to spoil it, my sticky notes were essentially, yes, okay, it was like split, but it was picking the pieces that made sense from each character to be in that moment.
Hmm.
What's coming out of Anna, what was coming out of Zoe, and why. So for that reaction to be that way, why? What is making that happen? And I think constantly figuring out what the motivation is. That was kind of my job. And I think that's what ultimately makes it believable. And that as an actor is your hope. I want you to believe that these two people are different, even though you're seeing the same face. And a lot goes into it, not just me, hair and makeup and costume, and really making sure that we nail that. And when I change into somebody else, I believe it as well.
And audience members will believe it too. Book to screen adaptations are so interesting in the way that audiences have created their own versions of Anna and Zoe, and they're so invested. But everybody involved is so open about saying that this film is its own thing, and you're no stranger to playing characters who've lived in multiple mediums. How did that freedom allow you to and everybody involved to play? And is there different pressure coming into a project like this?
Absolutely. I mean, PLL, even Inherent Vice, they were all books. Obviously, this one as well. And there's a certain pressure of living up to the character that people love and adore.
Hmm.
Everybody, like with a book, you have somebody that you imagine, whether the author is describing that person or you're creating it yourself. And so when you have this intimate care for something, it's weird to see it come to life. You're so excited to see it as a movie, but often it can be a letdown. And I think that's why it's so important to have differences in a movie. Adele was happy and encouraged people to have a different ending for this movie. And so it's different
Yeah.
from, and so even if you love the book and you care about it so much, when you watch the movie, it's different enough that you don't know what's happening next and it's exciting, but it's similar enough that you feel that same passion towards those characters that you care deeply about. And that's the challenge. And I think if you accomplish that, audiences get it and they love it and they're there for that ride. And ultimately you want to entertain people. And so you just, you do all that you can, you put all the love and care in it. And you just kind of hope that shows through at the end.
Yeah, the film checks all those boxes. And as a storyteller and artist, I imagine your job is to bring truth to your performance. And it's not about the accolades. But what was it like getting to hear from Adele Parks firsthand that when she thinks of these characters now, she thinks of you? And how helpful was it having her on set and bringing that honesty to screen?
It was incredible having her on set. And the fact that she feels the way that she does about me portraying her characters is such an honor. I adore her. We adore each other. And it's just, I miss her when she's not around, and having her on set to just, to be, to be there for me to be like, is that working? Is this, do I feel like your girls? Like, does this make sense to you? Is this something that you know that this person would do or that person would do? And how can I do it better? How can I do it different? Is there something that, you know, would make a difference and make that come to life for your readers? And we were just always collaborating and always loving the similarities in our creative processes. And that was a real treat. And I do not think it would have been the same if she wasn't on set.
Hmm. Great answer. And then outside of acting, you're also the host of Women in the Nude. And in a discussion with Adele, you talked about how you learned so much about yourself playing this character. What have Anna and Zoe taught you? And if you had them on your podcast, what question would you ask them?
I think I think a lot goes into being a woman. And I know that's kind of a weird
Mm,
thing to say. You know, we have a lot of pressures, a lot of things that we do, a lot of hats that we put on, and a lot of them are just based on society's pressures and what we should be and what the order of things that happen in your life should be. And I think when you take those guardrails off, it's freeing, but it's scary, but it's also very empowering. And so Zoe and Anna being so different, but being in their own ways so powerful helped me because, you know, I've gone through a lot of health struggles in my life. I've been in the industry for a long time, and my situations are very different to most at my age. And now becoming a mom and having this, you know, my body is completely different than it before I had Hendrix. And then having this role where in so many ways, am forced to feel confident in my body.
mm,
It really did help me because it wouldn't work if I wasn't. And so becoming Zoe, being somebody so sexual and so confident and so powerful and having to take control over things to make it believable, I had to believe that myself. I had to believe that I was able to do that, and that I had to be able to believe that I could be that and to become that. And it takes a special environment. And I really am thankful to our crew and the people involved creatively that, you know, I don't even think that they knew that they did it, but they just made an environment that was comfortable, that I enjoyed, that I loved going to set every day. I didn't feel self-conscious. It was just, it was a beautiful experience in that way. And everybody plays a part in that. From your PA to your director to your producers. I mean, it takes everybody. It takes a village, and it can make a complete difference for the audience and the end product. So if I would ask them anything on the podcast, I think it would really be about what made you who you are. You know, like we get into a lot of, I guess, trauma sometimes on the podcast. You know, things that we're going to be sharing for the second season. It's like, you know, things that make you who you are today, good and bad. And
mhm.
you know, I said that already before, but it really is that. Like, why do you think that this is the first thing that you go to? Why do you think that you react a certain way? And are you interested in dissecting those? And I think it's all about growth. It's like once you are aware of the reason, the reason and the way that you do things, once you're aware of that chain of that circumstance, it's then up to you if you get better or if you stay the same. And you know, ultimately I hope that people grow and that I grow and that I'm constantly evolving and becoming better.